welcome back. It's gloomy, it's rainy, and so guess what I want to do? I want to talk about my crochet projects. For those of you who don't know, actually, I don't even think I know. 21. So I've been crocheting for 4 years. I made kind of a lot of things. Were some of them good? Maybe. Were some of them bad? Yes. So let's talk about it. So get comfy, you know? This should be a chair, however, I don't have one yet. So we're using a pillow, so you know what? It's fine, it's fine. Let's run it down. We're gonna start with tote bags, because that's what I started with. For any like beginner crocheter, highly recommend tote bags. It helps me, number one, learn a stitch and be pretty consistent with it, as well as counting, because the way I make one is that like I just do a really large rectangle, depending on what it is. But if it's just like a regular stitch, I just make a rectangle and then I fold it and then I invert it. And then we're gonna go with stuffed animals. And then clothes. I had a phase with clothes, and I respect anybody who makes clothes, because me personally, can't do it. Can't do it, and that's okay. And then blankets, guys. I know all I talk about is blankets, but I still feel like I don't talk about it enough, okay? I'm sorry, but I love my blankets, so we're gonna be talking about every single one. Let's just get right into it now. My first ever tote bag. This I will never get rid of. I will never undo. I'll never frog it. I will always keep it, even though it's so bad. So, well, for a beginner, actually, for a beginner, look, I kind of hate, but if you look at it closely, it's actually so bad. So this is what it is, okay? So the problems with these, number one, I didn't understand why a hook size mattered. I used a 5mm crochet hook for this, but unfortunately the yarn is extremely thin, so that didn't work. And then also the straps are just hanging on by dear life. All you can see are the ends. I mean, like, I tried at least. I'll give myself that. I tried. Guys, we all start somewhere. Anyways, this was my like first ever real project. Okay, so let's rate every project. This, for it being my first project and it coming out, I mean, intact at least, we'll do it like a 6 out of 10, because she needs some work. Literally, I was shopping with this one day in midday. This specifically, you can just tell the ends are just they're coming off. I also wouldn't recommend starting with such a complicated pattern for your first project. I don't know why I did. So speaking of consistent stitches, something like this, which I took this bag everywhere. I don't even remember what stitch this is. Do you know what I usually do? Because a lot of people ask me like what stitch. In the YouTube videos I watch, the caption of the video is just cool stitches. So even I don't know what it is. I feel like I say I don't know a lot, but I genuinely don't know. It's the honest truth. For bags like this, like, it's so flimsy. You put something in and it just weighs it down, right? And I didn't like that. So I lined this bag and like I put my computer in, I put all my stuff, like my homework and stuff to go to class, and it's still, you know, she's sturdy, held up really good. So 10 out of 10, but if I'm realistically rating this, actually, if I'm realistically rating this 10 out of 10, honestly, then, so like, yes, the bag is really good, but then the straps would still stretch. And I hated that because I liked the length that it was at, but then when I put stuff in it, it would just stretch and it would look like a side body bag. Is that what I'm trying to say? I don't think so. But do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, it just looked weird. So to fix that, I started sewing or like lining the straps too. Like, can you see? I lined the straps first, and then I went ahead and lined the bag over the straps. So that means like this thing not going anywhere, and it's perfect actually. But then like, see, again, like, this is just a flat, this is just like a rectangular panel, and look how clean those stitches are. Look how tight they are. It's not exactly how I wanted it to, because now I think it's too like it's too long. I wish it was like a few rows shorter. So like a 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10. Again, I highly recommend if you're just trying to get really good at a stitch, make a tote bag or a small bag or something. And then last tote bag. This one, I just searched up cool stitches on YouTube and found this. I really don't know what this stitch is called. And also, this is where I learned that checking your colors and lot numbers really matter. They really matter. because I don't know if you can tell in this lighting because it's really gloomy, but this color is way different than this color. This was like an experiment bag because I wanted to start beading my stuff. And one thing that I would recommend is to not do what I did. If I'm correct, you bead your beads through your yarn and then you crochet like that. Me, unfortunately, I strung it through like jewelry string, and then I crocheted that over this. Like I can literally just like put my finger through. So I mean, that's not the best route, but it is a route that worked. So I mean, maybe do it, maybe don't do it. Did it come out relatively cute? Yes. Solid 6 out of 10, 5 out of 10 maybe. So that was tote bags, and that's what I like primarily started with. I made hats. And I don't know why, because I literally, in my humble opinion, I don't think I look good in hats. So this is a scrap beanie I made. Honestly, like, why would I do such a thing? I don't know. And I hope I don't look like a fool, but that's one. And then I have, oh wow. Right, so I made these, and I hate them. I'd give them a 2 out of 10. Did it ruin my hair, yes or no? I hope not. Okay, I mean, they look good by itself, but I just would never, like, what? What is that? And I was just learning, so I have to respect myself. I have to. But, like, what? I did make a scarf. That one, 10 out of 10. I made it myself. If you want to go buy the pattern, let me plug myself. If you want to go buy the patterns on my Etsy, I'll put it in the description. If you want to, free will. Free will. But it is amazing. So, you know, do what you want with that information. So now, stuffed animals. Let's start with this one. So, right, what is the story behind this one? So this guy, you know, I feel bad for him. One of my family members was supposed to receive this. However, 3 years ago, I didn't understand how important yarn sizes were. So I just thought this yarn color was cute. Right, one thing leads to another, and the head is bigger than my head. He stayed here with me. Now, I do love him, I'm gonna be honest. I do like how he turned out. He is, however, you know, hard as a rock. I'm not sure why. Is it because he's overstuffed, or is it because like he's just like the yarn is so thick plus the stuffing? Like, I don't know. But at the end of the day, I do love him, and he was just a happy accident. He was a happy accident. Let's put him at a 9.5, you know, because he was a mistake, unfortunately. But I do love him, so we'll keep you. It's okay. After that one, we went on a little cow obsession era for me. I think I made like 6. One thing about me is if I like something, I will hang on to it with a death grip until I no longer like it. And so that was me with cows. Now this is my favorite one, so I never got rid of it. I think 3 or 4 of them are no longer with me. But this was my first one I made, I'm pretty sure. So like there's a few things wrong with it, like the ends are not really woven in correctly, and you can also tell like the blue is mixed in with the white, and so I didn't know how to correctly hide that. And that's okay, again, she was just learning. I was just learning, guys. But now I learned. So I'd rate stuffed animals in general, I have to like want to make it. I can't just like decide to, because I don't think they're my favorite things to make. We all know what my favorite things are to make, but like I think I just made so many in such a short amount of time, I just can't make one anymore. So like 3 out of 10, but project wise and like difficulty wise, solid 8. Pretty easy, pretty fun, and everybody's gonna love them. I made a duck and I made it match an outfit with me, and I think it's the most cutest thing I could have made this year. Learned how to freehand overalls, the shirt, the pants, and I had to freehand the hats a little bit because the head was really big, so I had to adjust to them, to that size. But 10 out of 10, like actually, I enjoyed every second of it. If you want to make a duck, go make that one. I also went on another obsession era where I made like 10 jellyfish. Once again, if I like something, if I have just 1% of interest in something, I tend to go absolutely insane. After I made like the 5th one, I decided it would be a great idea if I hung these on my light on my ceiling, and it created like, what's it called, like a mobile for those babies? Yeah, so that's always good. No longer do I have that, don't worry guys. That was in 2020, okay? And right, Now we talk about my blankets. Now my blankets are just, I think they're the best thing to crochet. I really do. Can I get comfy? Do you guys mind? So my first blanket ever was a granny square blanket. Now it was what was it? It was like the 3D motif flower blanket. I decided to do 100 squares. It's always gonna hold something special to me because number one, it was my first blanket, but number two, like I want to say a third of the blanket, I asked my friends and like family to give me 3 colors, and so each of those flowers represent one person. So like it's kind of cheesy, but I like it. Sue me. For that reason, I think it's really cute. The pattern also very easy to follow if you want to make it. Okay, talking and counting is going to be quite the task. My next blanket was the, what's it called? The Spring Fling Mandala Blanket by Debbie Dearest on YouTube. Guys, it started my obsession with blankets. That blanket took me about, the other blanket took me like 3 months. This blanket took me about 1.5 months, I think. I learned so many new stitches for that one. Like I didn't know what a popcorn was. I didn't know what a puff stitch was. I honestly only knew what a double crochet, half double crochet, like the simple basic stuff I knew, but like popcorns, didn't know. I have just learned so much from that blanket, and so I really just love it so much. And unfortunately, that blanket is not with me today. I put it on my Etsy and someone bought it, which obviously that was the intention. But when someone did, I was like, wait, I'm never gonna have this blanket ever again. But it went to a better home, so it's okay. I just miss it. Can I miss my stuff that I make? I rate that blanket. It's honestly, it was really tiring to make at the end because there was a lot of independent rounds when it started to become a square from the circle. Don't get me wrong, I always say this, I love doing different like stitches, but I like doing them in rounds. I don't like cutting it off, keep putting it on. Like independent rounds really throw me for a loop. They really do, because like again, it like the weaving in the ends, that part doesn't bother me. It's just having to stop and restart, and it's just like the groove, you can't get into the groove because once you've gone into it, you gotta stop. So like, I'm not the biggest fan. My next blanket I made, I think was my Christmas blanket. One is the Chrysallis Throw by the Floral Hook on Ravelry. That one was supposed to be a square. I don't know, I feel like Christmas just deserves to be a circle, right? I hate the colors I chose. Like I get red and green are supposed to be Christmas. I just wish I chose less bold of colors because the green that I chose is so green and the red that I chose is so electric. And I wish I chose more like murky, muted colors. I think that one took like 2 months to make and I'd rate it a 7 out of 10. The pattern was fairly easy and I enjoyed making it. I just wish I chose, I think the colors really just, they didn't speak to me. But don't worry, every Christmas I pull it out. Don't worry, I still respect it. Then I did my fire blanket. I no longer have it and I think about it daily, but it went to a better home. It went to a better home. That was one of my favorite blankets I've made. It was just, everything about it was just so easy. It took about a month to make. I loved the colors I chose. The pattern, there wasn't really any independent rounds really. Even if there was double crochets constantly, it was still like in a different way. I don't know, I just loved making it. I highly recommend it. That's a 10 out of 10 for me. So that was that one. And then my next blanket I made, this blanket I made for my sister. I wanted the idea, she wanted it, and I said, I mean, do I really need another blanket? So I made it for her. But I did make the pattern by myself. So if you guys like want to go to my Etsy and go buy my pattern, by all means, use your free will. Use your free will. Like the pattern is really easy to follow. It's perfect. It has images. It even has a little chart for you to use to map out your colors and fabrics. So if you want to go buy it, by all means. That project took me like a month and a half. No, a month, roughly. I would give it an 8 out of 10. One thing I would say about that blanket though, if you are gonna make it, I don't know how to explain this. I sewed my fabric squares onto my granny squares without like sewing the seams in. I don't know why I did that. Does that make sense? So what I would do first is fold over the seams and sew that first to make it actually a clean square and then sew it on. Why I did all of that simultaneously, don't know. Next blanket. This one also will forever, that's like top 3 blankets I've ever made. It was a gift for my friend for her birthday. Everything about that blanket, guys, it came out I hate to talk so highly about something I made, but it came out so perfect. Everything about that blanket, 10 out of 10. I also decided to do fringe with that blanket. Guys, let me tell you, if you think your blanket is missing something, it's fringe. 100%, no doubt about it, it's fringe. Because, listen, I'll put a picture of it without the fringe. It was just, like, not speaking to me. I was like, okay, this is a blanket and it's done. And adding fringe really just, like, brought it to life. I don't know. I geek about this blanket so much. And it's crazy because, like, I'm finding this blanket that I made, like, on Pinterest. What do you mean? See, like, I'm literally just scrolling on Pinterest. And obviously there's gonna be, like, blanket stuff on my Pinterest feed. Duh. I saw her blanket. I was like, oh my god, wait, I made that. What is it doing there? Very cool. Very cool. Blanket, 10 out of 10. And then my next blanket I made after that, the problem with that blanket is that for me, I need a blanket to like snuggle with, you know, like I need to be comfortable and warm. My feet are showing in that blanket. Cover my feet, get rid of that. So do I love it and does it come out in the spring? Yes. But does it need to be bigger and I wish I made it bigger? Also yes. So for that reason, 8 out of 10? 7 out of 10. I also think it's really like frilly, as I'm like crocheting the most frilly thing you can make, but that one is just giving, I don't know, it's not speaking to me, but I do love it. So my next blanket, guys, I made gosh, I really made a lot of blankets now that I'm thinking about it. My next blanket, yeah, it's my blanket that it took 8 months to make. 8 months. 8 months is crazy, guys. Oh my god, I'm surprised I finished it. It's the Karoo vintage blanket by the Floral hook on Ravelry. The problem with that is that it took me 8 months to make. So I have grown to hate this blanket, unfortunately. Don't get me wrong, it looks gorgeous. I'm so glad I finished it. Love the colors. But it took me 8 months to make and I was so over it by the time I finished it that I'm like, just get this out of my sight. Which is really unfortunate because I do like it's on my bed. I do present it, but I wish it didn't take me so long so then I could actually appreciate it. Does that make sense? I don't know. When you guys make a project, do you guys like have to finish it soon or else you just don't care? At least I finished it, right? Right. Hey, can I be a hater for 5 seconds? Can I? Will you be mad? I don't recommend this pattern. I really don't. And I love the person who makes this. Written pattern said one thing and then the video said another. Didn't like that. So like if you are to make it, choose one or the other. There are just also so many independent rounds. Like so many. Sorry for me being a hater. I'm sorry. It just had to be said. The one thing that I really do love about this blanket though is for me, when I crochet or when, especially with blankets, I feel like this is gonna be really cheesy and I'm low-key in my cheesy era right now, so just like let me be. It's like you're crocheting your story in the blanket, you know? For me, like this blanket took 8 months. 8 months of me is sewn into that blanket. Like when I look at that blanket and I'm like, oh, remember the person you were? Remember like the thoughts that you're crocheting, you know? Every blanket I've made has feelings in it, has a story in it, has the person I was in that moment in it. Ugh, stop. This is why I love blankets, because it's just like a thing. It's just cheesy and I love it. Does that make sense? Do you guys think that way? Let me know. Hey, sorry, I was geeking out for a second. Let me calm down. Whew. As promised, here is the final granny square for this blanket. Can you see it? Isn't it cute? But this is frilly. This is so frilly. So I hope I like it in the end. I hope. My fingers are crossed. I hope I like it. You better believe this blanket is gonna have some kind of fringe. It has to. Because if I don't, it's just, what's the point? Honestly, help me out a little bit because, so I've been making kind of like an assembly line almost. So I've made 2 rows. I've made 14 of the centers. And then now I'm going back and doing the petals, and then I'll go back and do the leaves and like every other row. My thing is, I don't know what's going faster. If I do it one by one, would it be faster? Or if I do it like an assembly line, is that faster? I don't know. So I'll see you in the next one.